is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. In particular, welcome to PCP Movie Night. And if you're not down with PCPX, I got two words for you. Stuart Gordon. That's right. We're talking about a Stuart Gordon film tonight. And usually when we talk about Stuart Gordon, we're talking about gnarly movies like Reanimator or From Beyond or Stuck or hell, even King of the Ants. But tonight, we're talking about Robot Jox right there. Tonight's PCP Movie Night brought to you by my good buddy Nestor, who sent me the Arrow box set that contains Robot Jox and Dolls and Arena and Cellar Dweller and Dungeon Master, I believe. So very cool to finally have this in physical Blu-ray form. I used to have the DVD back in the day, got rid of it a long time ago. Happy to have this back in my collection. So Stuart Gordon, who we know and love from Reanimator, Dolls, From Beyond, right? So after he made Reanimator, he had a 3-picture deal with Empire Pictures. I almost said Empire Records. That's a whole different movie. And part of that was From Beyond, Dolls, and then Robot Jox. But there was a long journey to this. Speaking of long journey, it's been a long journey to finally cover it here on the channel. And of course, we got to have a slam bang fantastic panel for Robot Jox, including Jelani. What is up, my man?
It's been a long road. You know, it's been a long time too.
It's been a long road.
Getting from there to here to X time, man. Suck it. Glad to be here, man. Glad to be here talking about this wild ass movie about robots and chicks that want to be in fighting robots and guys.
And Jox. Jox are part of the... Yeah, Jox are in there too, right? Yeah.
And like stuff and stop motion animation and text. Yeah, good movie.
Hell yeah.
Got a lot of stuff going on. I'm happy to talk about it.
Also joining us, of course, is Brooks. As always, this was the first time watch, my friend, right?
Yep. Yeah, never even heard of this movie, oddly enough.
That's not odd, to be honest with you.
I figured like it would. It seems like it would be a movie that you would see like at your rental store, like on the shelf, and you'd be like, "Oh, robot!" You know, as a kid, like, "Ooh, robot movie." But yeah, never even heard of it.
We also are joined by our good buddy from one collection down. It's Fable. What is up, my man?
Station, happy to be here, man. Another Stuart Gordon masterpiece. Let's go.
Yeah, let's fucking go, man. You know, this one didn't even need Barbara Crampton. Needed a little bit of Jeffrey Combs, but Barbara Crampton would have elevated it. Speaking of elevating the show, let's bring in a Link and my boy Steph. What's up, man? How you doing?
Yo, doing well. I'm doing well. So it was the first time watch for me. I got to chime in. I wish I would have. I still enjoyed it, but I wish I would have. I would have appreciated it so much more as a kid. Like I don't know how I missed this, to be honest. Like I didn't hear about it until a year ago myself. So yeah, this was a interesting but fun watch.
Yeah, I feel like if we would all watch this movie as children, it would be one of our favorite movies.
Yes.
I honestly do.
Yeah.
But like, and I've like did a little bit of research, you know, and like apparently this was a big video rental, but I don't ever remember. But then again, this wasn't in the horror section, you know, it wasn't in the horror, the sci-fi section. But at the same time, I don't know. I kind of went through the action section a lot too. So I don't know. And it definitely should have been in the sci-fi section. I don't know. But this dude picks a very eclectic mix of movies to join us for. So let's bring in Joe Corallo to talk about Robot Jox. How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, I'm surprised so many people haven't heard of this one. Like this is like Red Letter Media covered this like very early on. Like this was one of the very first Best of the Worst they covered. Like this has been in the conversation for a long time. I'm not you know, dissing anyone here or anyone in the chat or anything like that, but like this has been a long, thoroughly discussed, you know, movie, and yeah, it's like it was like a staple at a lot of video stores. Like it's just been around for a long time, and yeah, it's fine.
All right. So my history with this movie is this. I started like getting into Stuart Gordon's film. I watched Reanimator for the first time in my early 20s. I was dating Starlet, Jelani, so that's my
I
early,
remember.
right?
That's how far along it was.
Yep. And so I watched Reanimator and I loved it. And then of course, back in those days, I had to pull out my giant book I had, the movie database, right? And like I looked at Stuart Gordon, I looked at all the movies, and Netflix, DVD through mail, like watched everything I could, and Robot Jox was one of them. And I remember being blown away like at the ambitious nature of this movie from the guy that did Reanimator, Dolls, and From Beyond. Of course, he was the writer, and he kind of created Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, one of his biggest successes. He did Fortress, the Christopher Lambert movie. His last film was an excellent film starring Mina Suvari called Stuck. But I'm a fan of Stuart Gordon, and everybody knows that. This dude likes to push the boundaries. He likes to push the envelope. But with Robot Jox, this is a different kind of movie. This is one of his first movies geared towards a younger audience, right? This movie was part of a 3-picture deal that he had with Empire after Reanimator's success, From Beyond, Dolls, and then Robot Jox. But Robot Jox took several years to come out. They started working on this film in 87, but it didn't actually theatrically release until 90, though they wanted it ready for 89. And the reason why it got delayed a couple of times is because of the special effects. The stop motion animation took way longer than they anticipated. Plus, this was the biggest budget of an Empire film to date. And Empire went bankrupt and out of business before this movie was finished with production, so it kind of meandered around a little bit. They finally released it. It was originally called Robot Jox, but because RoboCop had already come out, they changed it to Robot Jox to kind of avoid, any kind of a like a lawsuit or something like that. The budget is anywhere between $6 to $10 million. When it was released theatrically, it made $1.3 million, but it did get more of a life on home video. And as Joe alluded to, lots of people on YouTube have talked about this movie, and it's become one of those sci-fi cult classics of the late 80s. I do like this movie. I like this movie a lot. It's not a good movie, right? It's got issues. It's a little slow. It's a little cheeseball. It's got clashing tonal stuff going on. That's mostly because the writer, who was like a Nebula award-winning sci-fi writer, who was a friend of Stuart. Stuart was inspired by Transformers, Macross, stuff like that. Wanted to see if he could bring something like that to the big screen. He called up his buddy, the award-winning sci-fi writer. The writer wanted the movie to be very serious, gritty, and dive into some themes. And Stuart Gordon told him, the problem is you're making a movie for adults that kids might enjoy, but I'm making a movie for kids that adults might enjoy. And that's why it's a PG movie. That's why you only get a butt, right? I think it's the first, Dolls doesn't have any nudity either. Dolls is kind of kid-like, right? And what I love about this movie too is one of my favorite things about like small, independent, do-it-yourself, maverick horror filmmakers, or just filmmakers in general, is when they use the same people. You see a lot of people in this movie from previous Stuart Gordon films, right? And that's fun, like the doctor who's like making the test tube babies is the old lady from Dolls. Jeffrey Combs makes an appearance. The dude who's in charge of the market is the dean from Reanimator, stuff like that. That's really, really fun. It's got some great characters. It's got some good effects. It's rather ahead of its time. Not just necessarily in special effects, but in just concept in general. We didn't have giant robot movies that were live action back in these days. This was the closest you had to one of your favorite giant mech animes come to life at this time. I think some of the effects still hold up, but I think anything that's done in camera will hold up a little bit because your brain still knows that it's there. But I do like the movie. I don't love it as much as many other Stuart Gordon films, but it's definitely top 10 Stuart Gordon films for me. So I really like it, and I'm excited to bring it here and talk to you guys about it. Jelani, Robot Jox, what do you think overall?
Yeah, I think I saw this like by accident 10 years ago or so. I'm like, what the crap is this? It looks like giant robots. And they talk for the majority of the movie, but then there's still robots here. I like this movie. It is so cheese. It is camp. It is so much work sometimes, but like it's still kind of fun. And I like the action of it. There's just I don't know. There I even like the cheesy characters. There's not even bad dialogue for me because like it looks like it goes there. Like everything that's said in this movie is pretty. It goes where it's supposed to go. And you're like, okay, I get it. Nuclear holocaust. They got to fight for land and resources, and they fight. They decided after a nuclear war, it's cool to go ahead and like I don't know, build giant mechs and fight in an arena for these resources. It's so wild. The concept for it is so wild. Like you could have just been jockeys. You could have just been Robot Jox. They could have just been fighting for, clout or something. I don't know. It's so weird what they're fighting for. And then you have like test tube babies that are grown specifically to fight. But
all with rat tails. All with rat tails.
All of them have rat tails. And all of them suck ass. It's just terrible. It's like, what's the point of you if you're just gonna get like this cool Achilles guy? Which, by the way, he's the shit in this movie, and he's just I don't know what it is, but like that guy, I remember him from Alien Nation.
Alien Nation, yeah.
And
he's also in Enterprise, that shitty ass show.
Really, I don't pay attention to Enterprise. I don't even know if that exists. But there are certain things in this movie that are just cool, really cool. It's robots fighting each other. But then there are things in this movie like they're really bad, like parts of the fight when you go into goddamn space. Why did you go into space? What's the whole point of space?
Yeah, if these motherfuckers can go in space, why not just do this shit on the moon or something, man?
The moon? Do something.
Here's a question, Jelani. What is this part a cool part or a bad part where the villain robot pulls a giant fucking chainsaw as his dick out towards the end of the movie?
The robot chainsaw dick. Yeah, there's just certain stuff in this movie where I'm like, that's questionable. And this is for kids. Like Stuart Gordon, calm down, dude. You did Reanimator. Calm down. You know where you are. Not everybody is where you are. Calm down. That's what I think Robot Jox is. It's simple, it's easy, it's wham bam thinky bam at the same time. It is very bad. But it's the first movie I can honestly say that I've watched on PCP Movie Night that is so bad it's good.
Hell yeah.
It's the first time I'll ever say that on the movie night.
Well put. Well put. What about you, Brooks? This was a first time watch for you. Never even heard of the film. What'd you think about it, man?
This movie kind of sucks. But it sucks in a fun way, kind of like, So it's like it kind of balances out a little bit. But like I feel like this is a movie I probably would have liked as a kid. I would have been like critical, like, oh, there's too much talking and not enough robot fights. Like it is, and it's a very basic. It has a very basic kind of action movie kind of premise. Like everybody is very like, you have the hero. He goes through his crisis of faith. He comes back to fight the bad guy at the end.
It's like Days of Thunder a little bit, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Rocky movie almost, where he's like, oh, he's the best, but now he's like, he can't fight anymore. But
it's very similar actually to Rocky IV if you really think about it.
That's what I was thinking. It's like, well, and especially Alexander puts off kind of Ivan Drago vibes. That may just be because, he was your typical Russian bad guy.
I squash you like bugs.
But in the end, he's just like, but yeah, it was fun. It was fun, but it's dumb. It's dumb fun.
It's gigantic moronic splendor to a T, right? Yeah.
Happy birthday, Mike.
It is his birthday, so we're doing gigantic moronic splendor. So Hell yeah. Happy birthday, Mike the Voice Matthews. What about you, Fable? I think you said the first time you watched this was about a year ago. You were really excited to join us tonight. You're like, Robot Jox, let's fucking go, man. What do you think about the movie?
Well, I mean, yeah, I never heard of this until recently. I never knew of Stuart Gordon as a director. Like, I saw Reanimator as a kid. I saw From Beyond as a kid, mostly because the box art for those movies was great. So it's, you know, it's one of those things you pick out of the video thing. You're the one who connected the dots for me on Stuart Gordon. Like, oh yeah, he did both of those movies. I said, well, that makes a lot of fucking sense. And then I saw this and it was like, wait a minute, he did a mech warrior movie? He did like some Pacific Rim type shit? Like, I gotta check this out. And yes, let's not make any bones about it. This story is super basic. It's super cliched. It is super stereotypical. I mean, they have the Japanese scientists literally doing origami.
Yes.
Yeah.
And crushing it.
Guy from Texas.
Oh, dude, this movie is actually part of the Blade Runner universe, man.
And the guy from Texas, his name is Tex.
Yep.
So, you know, and
Texas
here's
guy
the other
named
thing.
Tex.
Stuart Gordon says he wanted to make the Iliad with giant robots. There's a little bit of that in here, I guess, mostly in the names and the fact that Achilles' robot gets his foot fucked up. But, like, it's not quite the Iliad. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, brother, where art thou to the Odyssey. You know, it's not quite on that level, right?
And it definitely has Cold War commentary, right? Like the Russian thing going on, Rocky, or a couple movies from this era have that thing going on.
Red Dawn.
But I find it extremely fascinating. It's a fascinating from like a filmmaking perspective, you know, low budget. It's way more competent than it has any business being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the acting is not half bad. The dialogue, not half bad. The direction, not half bad. Special effects, not half bad. I mean, like you guys said, if this came out in 1980, this would have been a blockbuster. Because this is using Empire, what they did in Empire Strikes Back, which I think is 1980. And they're doing the same effects, but just like 10 years too late. Because remember, Total Recall came out the same year. T2 comes out 2 years later. You know what I mean? Jurassic Park 3
it's
years
a fraction of those budgets, though, right?
No, I know,
right?
but this is 10-year-old technology they're using for this movie. But even though they're doing it, it's still really competent. It's still well done. I think the pacing is fine. It's short, which I love. You know me, I love my hour-and-a-half movies. And I don't know. I just so fascinated that somebody attempted this shit. Like you guys said, like there was nothing like this until like Transformers and Pacific Rim and all these movies. So the fact that he even went for it, it just, I don't know. I love it. I love the ambition. I love the balls on Stuart Gordon. And he does this in all of his films. Like he has this ambition, and for the most part, I think it pays off. Like I saw Fortress in the movie theater. I like Fortress. I don't know.
Fortress is a good bad movie, I would say.
Yeah, I like Fortress, man. Another prison, futuristic prison thing. It pulls it off with the budgets that he has. So I don't know. And it also makes me nostalgic for a time that I never had, right? Because I didn't see this as a kid. But when I see it, I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? It takes me back. I like if I saw it when I was a kid. So this is not the greatest movie in the world, but I still really like it. It's a good time.
Hell yeah. Steph, this is your first time watching this film, man. What'd you think about it?
I mean, I feel like you gentlemen have kind of all said it. It is ambitious for its time and its budget. The acting is not half bad. I'd say it's better than it has any right to be honest. This is some really basic, cheesy stuff, you know, but it's like they're able to pull it off. You know, the actors kind of got like the Hal Jordan rebelness going on. It's, you know, it's cool because it reminded me of stuff like Big O, Gundam, or Gundam Wing, G Gundam to be specific. That's what I grew up with. But, you know, you can even see the influence. I mean, I really do think people like what's his Del Toro, who did Pacific Rim, seen this movie and he's taken influence. Like you can see the influence in Pacific Rim. So it's not amazing, but it's never so bad that you're laughing at it because it's terrible. And if it is, it's because it's charming so bad it's good. Like so I had a good time with this one. I wish, like I was saying earlier, I wish I would have grown up with this one because I think I would have definitely held it in much higher regard. I definitely regret it that it took so long for me to see this. And I look forward to watch. I think my son would eat this up. Like I think he'd love this. And I look forward to showing this to him. So, I give it. I got to give it credit for that. And it does have an '80s vibe, which I love. I was shocked that this came out in '90. I know it took a few years, but even at '87, I feel like this has like a more of a thick of '80s aura to it than like late '80s. So I love the fact that it had like this '80s vibe to it. The only thing, that I would knock on it would be like the stop motion. When the robots are standing still, they look badass. They look amazing. But it's like when they start going to town on each other, it gets a little goofy. But there's still charming aspects. Yeah. Yes, it needs to be a little bit more fluid. But you can't knock it too much. That's just a minor nitpick, but it is a very ambitious film for its time, and I admire that for it.
Hell yeah. It seems like what I'm getting from the panel so far is this movie would be way better if we grew up with it. So this is what I suggest. All 6 of us, we get together, we do a whole lot of shrooms. We bring ourselves back to like a childlike mentality and watch the movie and see what happens. We can recreate that.
Dude, his arm came off. Holy shit.
And here it comes. Here it comes. And that nobody in that crowd has a chance to get the fuck away.
I have a hard time believing that he killed 300 people. Like 300? Really?
Yeah, but don't worry. At the end of the film, just do like a thumbs up and a fist bump, and everything's okay, man. Everything's okay. All is forgiven because the market, which is the U.S., I love that. Like the market is the U.S. And what do they call basically Russia? It's like something that starts with a C. The Confederation, right? The Confederation. And they got like the Steelers colors, right? And then like I don't know. I kind of like that that vibe too. Joe, I'm always curious to hear your thoughts about some of the best films we've ever talked about, like Blue Velvet, and then movies like Robot Jox, man. So, what'd you think? Yeah. What do you think about this one, man? What's your history with it?
Like guys, like incorporate a little more haterade into your diets. I mean, for fuck's sake, this is Robot Jox. Y'all got like a little tear coming down your face, being like, "If only I had this as a child." It's like, there's so many other things I wish I had as a child. Like this is take it or leave it. Like I'm not that broken up that I didn't have this as a kid. But like,
well, wait till we all do shrooms together, Joe, and watch it. You'll have it. You'll be singing a different tune.
I just think Joe doesn't like robots. I think that's what it is. Bias against robots.
It's true. I had so many Transformers as a kid. I was a big Transformers kid, but no, and I'm big on a lot of mech stuff. I mean, points for trying to do something that clearly couldn't be done yet. And to that point, though, like there was like the Gundam live action movie like a decade later that also sucked. So like, it's not like giant robot movies were easy to do anytime soon. I mean, like, there's some Godzilla movies I feel like kind of fall into doing the giant robot stuff earlier and all that, but no, like this, oh my god, it's so basic. Fucking Tex with the cowboy hat. Fucking I mean, and if you want to talk about like the origami thing with the Japanese scientist, and then doing the whole bit of like, Tex just being like, oh, he committed suicide after being confronted by it's all very fucking racist. But
and sexist.
yeah, and super sexist. Holy shit, do Achilles and Athena have negative chemistry?
Zero.
It's like Blade Runner.
romance.
The chemistry's so bad, it's like Blade Runner kind of. A little bit.
But at least in Blade Runner, at least one of them's a fucking robot. Like this one, it's born in a tube, a tube, but
she's
it's not really developed.
She's a
It's all very it's like someone went through a bunch of Philip K. Dick stuff and went oh, what if we vaguely mention a dozen different interesting things that are explored in sci-fi and do fuck all with them. Fuck all. Just kind of make it known that we're kind of aware of these dystopian little points and then don't do anything with it. Just the whole premise behind it's stupid. It's just, we all agreed to just there's only two forces and we outlawed war and war never happened again. Guys, I don't know if you're aware of this whole fucking UN thing that we did as a world. But that did not stop war at all.
That's because we don't have giant robots yet.
We got giant robots, man. The technology is there now.
And they're not dressed in referee suits. Come on. We need referee suits for our UN.
Referee suits that can turn off certain things, but also you can have secret weapons, and that's also legal. And it's like a dumb fucking kid wrote this script.
That's why we would love it as kids,
Right?
Joe.
Yeah.
But
you're not
We did war, but it was with giant robots instead. Instead of guys fighting, we get the two giant robots. They fight. That's how we do the war. Yeah.
Did all you fucking watch the same movie where there are 2.5 robot fights in an hour and a half, and there's a whole fucking hour between the first full fight and the last full fight? Where it's just people with no chemistry and fucking text going woo-wee, I bet there's a spy who's not me for 45 minutes.
In the commentary, it's funny because the guy that's modding the commentary asked Stuart Gordon, did you want to cast Slim Pickens in that role?
Yeah.
It's just going, and then there's a bit that's out of American Gladiators where they're just climbing up stuff with flashing light, and you're this sucks. And
none of their training is how to work the fucking robot, by the way.
I thought it's crazy they're doing all these martial arts. There's no way they're gonna even get that.
They're not even kicking like that.
They teach 10 years better at space camp than they do this shit, man.
Yeah, but American Gladiators was a hit television show.
Climb this jungle gym.
If we grew up with this shit, it would have been awesome, dude. Ahead of their time.
and no one reacts to things in a way that makes fucking sense at all. They're mad that he's not going to continue the fight, although he shouldn't have had the choice to begin with. And the weight of avoiding war by doing this never comes up at all. They're never Achilles, you can't do this or else war. They just kind of they set that up as this is what's keeping war at bay, and then they never delve into it. It's just assumed oh well, war's not going to happen. It's just it would be nice if you did this. So then he's not doing it, and then he's going to do it. And then everyone's mad that he's not going to do it. Then they're mad that he is going to do it. Then Athena goes and fights instead, but that doesn't disqualify them. But the fucking Russians able to disqualify himself. Like,
Well, he kills the
absolute
fucking judges,
nonsense.
man. He kills the refs. He kills the guardians, man.
But you can swap who you signed up to have fight and not be disqualified. That's like not a thing. Like a thing that's in literally every fucking sport and competition ever.
You're thinking
is-
too hard on this, man.
That's the
I am
one
not
goddamn
thinking
like
too
that's
hard.
something
I
that I'm
agree.
looking at out of everything in this
Too hard
movie.
on this.
It's a
Why would
fucking
they
robot
swap
movie
sides?
where they're beating each other up
fucking
with robots.
No. I let a lot of shit slide in this fucking panel. I do. And I am not going to be gaslit into fucking, dude, you're overthinking it. What? People swap
They did
people
try
in
to-
competitions all the fucking time. No, they don't. I'm not
It's a
being
full
gaslit
robot
by
piss,
you.
man.
Not.
But they in the movie they address this in the movie. They address this in the movie. In the movie, the captain or whatever, the leader is like, "Yo, that's not the pilot we wanted to send out. Like, we want to pull back." And the Russian dude's like, "Fuck that. They're in
That's
here. Let them fight."
But
You know.
the
So they did
other
address
side
this.
doesn't get to be like, no, that's cool. Swap out with someone who's less experienced. Like, that's not how competitions work. Like, it's just
I think
not.
it drugged him. He drugged what's his name? Achilles. She drugged him so he
then
wasn't
they're
available for the fight.
disqualified. Like, that's like
It
it's
wasn't their
just-
fault,
They,
Joe.
and that's the point they were trying to make.
Yeah. They said they don't care who comes out on the field as long as somebody's in the robot suit,
But
ready
yeah,
to go.
Maybe Joe's not thinking about it enough. You know?
yeah, no, I am not like that. It's not a technicality. It's like a fucking like. No, I'm sorry. I'm standing on this ground. Fuck all of you for trying.
All right.
to
Well,
get
what about this?
me
From the
on
very
a very
fucking beginning,
basic thing.
Alexander is killing these people, and they mention that he
Yeah.
keeps killing these dudes after they go, "Nope, game's over, stop," and he kills them. He's not disqualified.
Right.
Yeah, that was
should
weird.
have been like that's insane. Like there's,
Oh,
but
man.
then but the thing is, it's all built on intricate rules to prevent war, and then they're just like, fuck it. The
No,
movie has
there's
to
not a
happen.
war. It's not a war. They're fighting for Alaska. The resources of
I just
Alaska,
wanna-
not a war.
They're not
What-
fighting for each
Yeah,
other. Yeah.
Russia
They're fighting
isn't
for Alaska.
invading Ukraine to start a war. They just want Ukraine. You're just
Let's
you're
throw this out
throwing
there that's-
words like war around, and no one's having a war here. But, like,
Territorial war, man.
Stuart Gordon he originally wanted to make this movie for kids, right? So it's like this is like watching Power Rangers, essentially.
I mean,
Where it's like shit
you
might
wanna
not
make
always
this-
add up.
Oh, Joe
Yeah,
will overthink and criticize Power Rangers too. Trust me.
Listen,
Oh my god, yeah.
there's stuff in the
No.
80s that gets away with a lot more that we're way more nostalgic for and forgive than this one. I mean,
I
this
feel
one's
though
really-
you can
They
pick it
look
apart because
nicer. They have
talking about
higher
Power Rangers, why
budgets.
doesn't Rita just make 20 monsters and make 20 monsters grow? Like, you know,
Sure,
like
exactly.
yeah. All right, let's get into these brilliant performances in this film. Now, I've been nice this entire year so far, but I will go first because I think it's slim pickings, no pun intended there. I'm going to go with Paul Kozlow as Alexander, the Confederation guy. This dude cracks me the fuck up. He's so cheesy. He's like a Skeletor level villain,
Yeah.
right? But something about his lines and the joy in which he delivers those lines cracks me the fuck up, dude. And the dumb shit, you know, it's like, you make this drink taste like blood. Like, what? What does that even fucking mean? I love him in this movie. It's great. But it is so fucking cheesy at the end when this dude's killed all these fucking people, caused all this problem, killed all those judges. No. Thumbs up, fist bump, and we're good because I guess this was Stuart Gordon trying to affect into reality the collapse of the Soviet Union and the Russian and American, you know, fucking joyful fucking come together moment, I guess. I don't know. But I love him in this movie. He absolutely cracks me up. He's chewing scenery. He loves it. The only thing that would make that role better is if John Lithgow played that role. He would have been perfect for that. Would have been perfect for that, but the guy who played him was pretty freaking cool. Jelani, what's a character you want to highlight?
I'm gonna take Achilles, Gary Graham. Because I mean, I like him. I've liked him like since Alien Nation as a kid. He was just like him and the other guy that played the alien in Alien Nation. He was awesome too. And it's just I don't know, something about Gary Graham in this movie. Like he's such a scrawny guy. And he's taking on like 5 guys at the same time. Pause. And it's just it's wild because it's wildly choreographed. It's the best choreographed fight scene, honestly, I have ever seen. Like I'm watching it
since Vin Diesel took on The Rock.
Yes,
They're flying through goddamn walls and shit, man.
Yeah,
It was a good fight scene. I agree.
Yeah, it's I don't know what it is about that scene that when I watched it like this time, I was like, wow, this scrawny dude is like kicking all their asses like easily. Like these guys really suck and they want to be like in this robot suit. And then like I love the obstacle course. I still keep going back to it. I'm like, yeah, climb this thing, get to the hole, and you can be a robot jock. And I'm like, this is the dumbest shit ever. But like, I don't know. It feels it feels good.
Did they die at the
No. But you see the guy that fell.
I like to think they did.
Yeah.
I like to think they killed them.
Me too.
And then combined them. Well, at first they jerked them all off so they would have some like more genetic material for the next round, right?
But I think the refs are alive. Sorry, the movie I saw, the refs lived. They fell out of the helicopter, the hovercraft thing, just when he smashed it down. So they lived in my movie.
Do they have fucking parachutes or something, man? I don't know.
No, they jumped out. The dude jumped out, and you saw the referee's back as he's like looking at them at the guy step.
That was
off.
to keep the PG rating, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
Sounds like the Dragon Ball Z thing. I can see their parachutes. They're
Yeah.
okay.
They're okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'll take Gary Graham. Achilles is he's like, I don't know, for dumb reasons, for love, he decides it's okay to like defy everything and not be a traitor and a coward and go back and fight the robot. Even though the girl drugs him, she takes his place. I think she died. I think she got her ass whooped, like, and he kissed her right at the end, like, I'm dying. And he kissed her. It's like, I don't know, it felt weird to me. I was like, she's really hurt, man. She's hurt bad. And you kissing her. All right, whatever. So, I mean, sure. That's how that works.
You gotta take your shots, man.
Yeah. And then, like, the scene with, they have no chemistry. Like, zero, period, chemistry. She's sitting there, like, in the room. She has undressed him after he's drunk. He's just laid sprawled out, naked. And she's been like, I've been watching your body all this time. Like,
I've
what?
been studying it, she says, right?
Studying your body and trying to see how you're better.
Those tubies are weird.
She was bred for. She was bred for battle, bro. They wasn't. I like to think that they weren't even like kids. They were just bred to adult size, bred for like battle. So everything is foreign to her. That's how I was.
She had
she's like Damian Wayne, bro. Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
Sure, she's raised by the league. I get it. It's just weird. It's just weird how it pulls out, but he handles it so well. He's like a mentor and a father figure and this horny teenager all at the same time. And he plays that character so well. And it reminds me from when he was the cop in Alien Nation. And by the way, I haven't said it in a while. Fuck the police. Fuck, fuckity fuck, fuck the police. And I'm out.
All right, Brooks, what's the performance you want to highlight?
Well, I did not like the characters in this movie, man. They were all boring as fucking hell to me. But I wanted to like Athena. I really did. And I think she had potential, but they fucked it up. Like, like she had a good arc. Like, she looks up to this guy. She realizes he's kind of a loser and an idiot. And she earns his spot. But then she steps aside for him, basically, which I thought was like, that's so dumb. And the whole romance between them was like, it was a forced thing. It's like, she's the only girl, Achilles is the hero, so like they have to like, get together or be implied to get together at the end. Yeah, that pissed me off. Like when when she confronts him after he decides to come back because he wants to, make sure she doesn't have to fight in the robot. And she's like, "Oh, you did it for money." And I'm like, man, she should have been like, "Hey, I earned that spot, dude. I
Right.
climbed the fucking danger room jungle gym. I got through the fucking thing. You quit. You need to fucking march, bro." But and the fact I thought like at the end, like it's gonna be okay, so Athena is going to do the final battle and he's gonna like coach her. Like, he's gonna be in the booth, like, helping her out.
He's gonna be the new Tex, man, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But then
God damn it, wake up, he's coming for you.
Yeah, but then nope, she gets her ass kicked and he just drives his car out to the battlefield, I guess, to get in the giant fucking robot. And another thing is like the trick that they had, the phosphorus thing, it didn't even fucking work. Like she fucking uses it on dude and he just still like just wails on her. Like, what the fuck was even the point of that then? It's like it's just there to like, so they can figure out that Tex is the traitor. Which was obvious to me. Like I pegged Tex like immediately as the fucking traitor.
And there's no explanation as to
None.
like
None.
none.
Just
Not
what
a
happens.
goddamn bit.
Like,
all right,
I'm
so
sure-
you don't have a favorite performance, but you have a favorite performance that
could have been.
could have been.
Yeah.
I love it. What about you, Fable? What's a performance to highlight or to highlight your frustrations with it?
I'm gonna go with Tex because he's the most out of place person in this entire movie.
He does look like it's a
This is
robot
supposed
job.
to be a future where we have co-sexual bathrooms and race is not a thing, but here comes this
It's like
sexist
Starship
racist
Troopers.
ass Texas
Yeah.
playing it up to the key. And movies are so we're trying to stay away from that kind of stuff. So I kind of miss the racist sexual guy in the movie. He represents all of that. So and I love the way he just like when he gets caught, he's like, "Oh shit!" He's like, "Fuck it," and he's like, "Geronimo!"
He just what the fuck?
Yeah! That's what he should have done.
Oh, but yeah, no, I thought he's laughably bad, but charming in a good way. So I'll take Tex.
All right. Your favorite charming sexist racist in the movie. What about you, Link? What's a performance you want to highlight?
I'm gonna go with the weapons designer or the Asian dude to be ignorant, racist.
Sato
from
Karate Kid Part 2.
It's
That's not his character's name. I can't remember his character's name. What is it? It's Matsumoto.
Okay, Matsumoto. I did watch this twice, and on the second watch, I really dug the scene where it's like Texas like, why can't we? Why didn't my boy get a heads up on this new weapon? And he's like, we're not doing that. There's no slip ups. And it's like when you see how it plays out, it's like his performance is a little layered. This is reaching. But it's like I could see why it was so dry and stern because he's like he already knew Tex was a fucking leak, so he was just like, I'm gonna give you the basics. That's it. So I liked his performance, even though he got at the end of it.
Yeah, his performance is good. I love that bit too during the Tex traitor reveal where he's like, we're always everything we've ever been. Like that's actually kind of like a cool thought and a cool line, and maybe the most poignant that the movie gets. Joe, I'm very excited because you got some real slim pickings now, man. What's a performance you want to highlight? I'm sure you got something.
Well, first, I just want to say I'm glad everyone got their stretches in, but now I'm going to go with character actress Hillary Mason, who was a Professor LePace in this, because like everyone else, she's horrible in this, but the thing, like, she does this whole bit, and it's not character actress Hillary Mason's fault, that the script sucks, but she plays this very like, buttoned up, like, oh, I never like, and she's fucking asking for them to like give them like, jizz samples, and then they make a joke about it, and she's all like, oh my goodness, oh, and you're like,
You're
are we
asking for
fucking
seeing it.
like every scene in this movie is so fucking stupid. And this is yet another example of a scene that makes no fucking sense, that everyone's like contradicting everything with every line, but
They gotta make more
seeing
people.
her-
They
we
gotta
gotta
make
make
more
more
people.
people because we have an army of one that fights occasionally.
Well, they keep dying, bro.
Yeah, everybody-
But they're not fighting like that often, and getting killed, they establish early on, isn't the norm. Like,
All right,
Very
you're right.
true.
You're right, though.
Very
She's
true.
way better than Dolls. She's way better than
yes,
Dolls. All right.
absolutely.
Style and
It's
structure
a
of the
better
film.
movie. Dolls is a better movie.
Dolls is a better movie, man. When we did Dolls on DHS, nobody liked it but like me and Dylan, I think. So
Jesus.
it's kind of like a funhouse situation there, which is weird because Dolls is, I think, to me, rather brilliant.
It's better than Puppet Master.
I agree, man. 100%.
Okay, then I'll give you those points. Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Rewatch Dolls on shrooms. Watch it as a kid would. Fable, that's what you got to do.
Jesus.
All right, so style and structure. I think the style is actually pretty solid. Like, for its time, the special effects, for its budget, for Empire, pretty impressive. The robot fighting is a little bit slow, but they do look cool. They look real. Like I said before, any effect that's in camera, even if it's cheesy and doesn't hold up, it works better for me always. And like later on in life, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, if it's in camera, it always looks better. Like maybe a rare case is like movies like, I don't know, like Del Toro movies like Pan's Labyrinth and shit, or Jurassic Park, right? Where they're mixing it so well that they still hold up. A lot of CG doesn't hold up, but in-camera effects, even if they don't hold up, they have like a value to them that works for me. So I think the effects are decent for its time, for its budget, for what they were trying to do, as ambitious as they were trying to be. I like the way it's shot for the most part. It's decent enough, but the structure of the thing, it's less than an hour and a half, and it does feel long.
Oh.
This is one of the longest feeling Stuart Gordon films I've ever seen. And most Stuart Gordon works are very tightly structured, and they move at a really brisk pace. This one, though, is quite a bit slow, even with my inherent pseudo love of the film. What about you, Jelani? What do you think about the style and structure?
I kind of agree with that. It's a choppy movie. It's very what the crap. Why are we going? We're going from thing to thing all the time, and like you get only two major robot battles, which, like, if they had the technology to make it, at least in the practical effects area, I think it would be way better, to be honest. Because it works, but then it doesn't. I've never seen, like, stop motion kind of work and then not. Like, Ray Harryhausen from Clash of the Titans, I think he would have done a much better job with the stop motion. I just believe that the robots could have looked a lot... they would have been animated a lot more, or a lot better, I should say, than what we were presented. It's fine. I love practical effects. I wish they do it all the time now. I don't know why it's so stupid to do it now. We don't have what's his name, Rick Baker anymore, to just hammer out stuff that looks good. It's not that hard, apparently. Or maybe it's just time consuming or something. But so is making crap CGI. So
It might take longer. Might take longer to make.
It'll
crap
take
CGI.
longer,
Yeah,
but make it. I mean, at least while you're talking about the script or something, be making this shit. I don't know. It's a lot better. But if they had the technology, or if they had the practical effects and know-how back then to make it work on camera, which they did because their Clash of the Titans exists, I think it's possible that it would have worked really, really well. I still like it though. That's the funny part. The slow moving punch, as you say, Joe, it's there. It's there. I hate it. I hate that he killed 300 people when he fell on them. But the fall looks good. The fall looks awesome to me. I see how 300 people were in those stands. How it fell and like it went like bloody and smoky at the same time. I love that. I don't know why. It works well. Both the robot battles are okay with me, except the dumbass one in space, which is fucking stupid. You could have been in space this whole time. The fuck is wrong with you? What, we couldn't do a budget? We got $10 million budget.
Take the money shot.
Yeah, just do the whole thing stop motion in space. And the other part I didn't really like the scenes where they were getting hit in the robot. It didn't feel like they were in a robot. That's what it was. It didn't look like there's sparks. There were no sparks. It was just them like literally doing this. Oh,
you wanted the Power Rangers shit where sparks fly off their chest and they just like
no.
And they fall out. You know they
Yeah, they were in a big room with stuff in it, and they were just like move around. Look like you're getting hurt. Look like you're feeling like you're flailing. I'm like, no. What? And another thing, there's safety features in this fucking robot. I'm never getting that damn robot. You mean all I got is a waist harness? I got a helmet on and this stupid outfit, and I'm moving around it. You're fucking dead. That's what you are. You're dead. You look dead. There's no padding. You're not like encased in it. You know what I'm saying? There's not Pacific Rim. I mean, at least Pacific Rim, they had safety precautions, and you needed 2 to drift and whatever. I don't know. It was just so stupid. And then, of course, I go back to the other thing where they're doing the martial arts. Why are you training martial arts when you can't even kick in the robot? All you can do is walk in that damn robot. I don't see no kicks. I don't see no cool shit. And Alexi or Alexander's like over there with 8 legs and shit, and he's in a dick saw. He's not kicking. He's not using one of them legs to flick somebody in the face, and he's a terrible shot. I'd have killed that guy. I'm sorry. There's a guy running around, and he's doing a serpentine. Shoot where he's gonna be. Shoot where he's gonna be. Sorry, it's so much work, but at the same time, it's so much fun to watch. I promise you. It is as dumb as it sounds, as dumb as it feels, as dumb as it being explained. It works. It could be a hell of a lot better. A hell of a lot better. But if I was like 10 or 11, I lost my shit over this. It's longer than it's supposed to be for 2 robot fights. But other than the stupid space battle, why did you go to space, you idiot? Why did you shoot that fucker in space and run away? Were you running away to space? Why?
Yeah, well, what's the point with that?
What the hell is wrong with you, dumb idiot? Yeah, but it was.
I can imagine Stuart Gordon being like, "What if they fight in space?" Or like, "Okay, we can do that for like 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Let's just go up to space for no damn fucking good reason."
Yeah. It's like when Roger Corman made the Fantastic Four movie. He's like, yeah, there's this dude who's on fire. And they're like, well, we can do that for about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And I think it makes it look worse, too. Like, it makes it look even faker. Like Robbie said, at least when they're fighting on the ground or whatever, there's some realism there where it just looks a lot cleaner.
It looks real.
Yeah.
But in space, as a green screen or whatever the hell they did, it looks awful. And I'm like, that's what took me out of it for some dumb reason. After all the stop motion fighting and how bad it looks in certain places, you go to space and it looks like shit. It's terrible. But I still like it.
Hell yeah. Brooks, what do you think about the style and structure?
This movie plays tug of war with me in a lot of ways because, like I said, like I think the characters are very bland and it's a very basic movie, but it still is enjoyable. Like I don't know what it is that makes this movie so fun to watch, but it just is. Like like I do not like Achilles. I think he's boring. He's dumb. He's just like I wish he had just I wish he had died in the first match and then like they could have had his successor be the hero. But but still there are moments where Achilles does kind of have his moments where it shines through. But this it's very it is very it feels like it did kind of set the groundwork for the kind of style that we would come to expect from these kind of sci-fi movies. Like I can see even a little bit of like Evangelion in this with like the suits, and it is very much it feels kind of like a foundation stone of like the whole kind of giant robot giant robots in cinema. This is kind of one of the baby steps that filmmakers had to take so that we could get better giant robot movies down the line. Which I guess like Pacific Rim would probably be the most prominent one, which is not a great movie.
Maybe to the Transformer films, but I think Pacific Rim might be the best.
Yeah, I think.
Just wait until Martin Scorsese does his giant mech film. That's gonna be fucking amazing. You just wait.
Yeah, we can actually build the giant mechs now. Just build the giant mechs and we can film them.
Do you know what's funny is that we were talking about how this is kind of allegedly supposed to be based on Homer's The Iliad. Christopher Nolan is doing the Odyssey. I don't know if y'all heard this, because Christopher Nolan doesn't like CG, right? He wants everything to be in camera. He's building a giant fucking animatronic Cyclops.
Let's go.
The fucking movie.
Let's go.
Yeah. I can't wait to see what that looks like. Fable, what about you? What do you think about the style and structure of Robot Jox?
I mean, I can't argue with anybody here. Like everybody, who shits on whatever they're shitting on. There's no argument for me, but I do find it freaking charming. I don't know. There's something very interesting about it. Just that first 20 minutes where they're like, introducing everybody and he gets suited up and he gets in the robot and they're going up the elevator, the door's open, he's walking, the other guy comes fucking flying in, whatever it is. I don't know. It's just something cool about it. Even though it does look like crap. I mean, it doesn't look too much shittier than what, Ed 209, maybe that same year, or the Terminator from Terminator 1. It's on that same level, but yeah, it looks cheap, but I don't know if half of that is 30 years of cinema after the fact. You know what I'm saying? Or you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's dated as hell, but it still looks cool. And I can't escape the fact that I would be impressed if I were younger, if I had a younger mind. You know what I'm saying? It something about it just makes me feel that way. Nostalgic for something I've never had. So yeah, no, I think the style is pretty cool. Structure, I don't know. I don't feel like it drags too much. Maybe I was a little too into it. Maybe more than I should have been. I like the bar scene, when they're all fighting and stuff. But
Stuart Gordon's the bartender, by the way.
No way.
Yeah.
Serious?
Yeah.
Wow. The end fighting scene is clunky as hell, but that would have sold a shitload of toys had this been a hit, right? Like that thing turns into a damn Macross, like, you know what I'm saying? A spaceship. And then the part where it turns into a tank, that was pretty awesome, dude. And it was like, but it's dumb too, because it's like, you could have did that from the fucking beginning. Why didn't you turn into that little tank shit? But whatever, man. It's bad but good. I don't know how to explain it. I didn't think it was that bad.
I think you did explain it perfectly, Fable, man. Well said. What about you, Steph? Style
the tank
structure?
mode was the secret style structure. The tank mode was the secret weapon that Motimoto put in that he
No, that was
didn't
a
want to explain to
flashbang
Tex and shit.
didn't
He's
do
like,
shit,
Flashbang that
though,
didn't
right?
fucking work.
headcanon,
You're supposed to do it.
headcanon. I'm just trying to.
You're supposed to flashbang and then shoot something or stab it.
Imagine you would have got that toy.
It's a
Damn it.
distractionary tactic. It's
Imagine
not
you would have
like
grew up with that
pointing.
thing. Imagine you would have grew up with that thing and like you got the toy and like it did that mode and shit.
Yeah.
I mean, we would have been trying to buy that today for like
That'd be
$400.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hasbro Pulse.
Yeah,
So true.
I think maybe the fact this movie didn't resonate as strongly is because it didn't have any toys to back it up. It had a toy line, like it certainly would have been in the memory bank. But style and structure, style wise, I loved it. I think it aims at what it's trying to do. Is Stuart Gordon intended this movie for kids? And I think as a kid, you need the simplistic. This is the bad side. This is the good side. The Jedi and the Sith. You know, the red lasers, the green lasers. You need that significance as a kid to distinguish and really spotlight. You know, who's good, who's bad. So I think it works on that front. And I love films where it's like you could take them like The Matrix or Pacific Rim, and you could take every scene and animate it, and it'd probably be a way better anime than it is live action film. And I think that could be the case with this film as well. You know, if you were to take everything in this film and make it anime, it'd be a dope ass anime. So I love it stylistically. Structure wise, I don't mind it at all either. It's an hour and 24 minutes. I mean, this is a movie called Robot Jox. I don't know if you're coming into this movie and you're disappointed with this. I don't know what you were expecting. I think you need some sort of story. We'd bitch about it if it didn't have any story and it was just some cheap ass robot fight. So it's like you need something to thread everything along. I think it knows that. It's like I said earlier, like the cast. I think this movie was made on like $6 to $10 million back in like the late 80s. I think it did more than it needed to do. So I was pleased on all those fronts.
Hell yeah. Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, style and structure, what you got? Style and structure is kind of like your bread and butter. That's what you do for a living, right?
Yeah, no, I really like this. And so many of you guys here, I'd love to see all this. If you are on the other side of the desk as like a producer on a movie, being like, "Wow, this is better than I would have expected." Like that'd be great. But no, I will say the structure is worse than the style. The structure blows like F grade. It's not a good structure for a film. The style is probably the key element that makes this enjoyable for anyone at all. It is that sort of, because like, again, I know it's like a little hard to explain almost or verbalize, but like what Fable and some other people have been talking about, like that, just like a movie that looks like that has, you know, those kind of costumes and those kind of sets, like, you know, a movie that, like, you know, some of them are cult classics, the rest of them are like, you know, later MST3K episodes, but just that kind of like look and feel of all that, you know, you're like 80s Star Trek, your 80s Doctor Who, all that sort of stuff. Like, I like that kind of aesthetic. I like that sort of just style, but structurally it runs into that problem of it's under an hour and a half and the middle still is a bit of a slog between the first and the last. Like, it's like you're like an 84-minute movie, and I feel like you could trim 10 minutes pretty easily between the first, like the big fight and the last big fight. Like, that's not great.
This should
really,
be Universal Monsters length, right? It should be
Yeah.
like an hour and 14.
Yeah, if this was an hour 14 or like 68 minutes or something like that, I think like structurally it would have fit better, but that's the problem. I think that's where you see a lot of the pulling apart of, you know, the writer versus, you know, like Stuart Gordon versus, you know, the other guy like trying to figure out like how to make this movie. This movie suffers so much from that because you really needed to strip a lot of like the little stuff that was being like slid in to like do like little world building that goes nowhere. It's like you actually should have cut all of that out because none of that helps and none of that elevates the movie, and just more laser focused spin on this idea of this of this fight and all that. But like again, it's like for adults, but all like it's going for kids, but like and it becomes this big mess because like the Alexander character, it's like he committed a war crime, murdering all of these people, and you know, and also murdering the guy beforehand. And he's just like at a bar, and it's like a bar fight. And it's like imagine that. Imagine like fucking like Putin's just at the bar, and you're like, boy, you're a not nice guy, and I'm gonna punch you when I meet you face to face on the battlefield. It's like, what the no, that's not how you deal with this shit.
I like when they were at the table and all those guys got when he crushed his hands and all the other guys got up and they all had the same blonde haircut.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's like it
Master
works
race over here.
in a different situation. Like it works if he's not a mass murderer for that scene. You know, like a lot of it works if he's like just a ruthless thug that will do anything to win. It doesn't work when he's a serial killer. Like, you know, it's like those sort of things. But that's where I think you get a lot of the movie falling apart from that conflict. Like a conflict like that either really elevates a movie or it drags it down. And in this, it really drags it down in the way it's structured, and you know, less so in the style, but absolutely in the structure of the film.
I was just thinking about this. Who was that mentioned all the blonde dudes standing up that looked the same? Was that Brooks or Fable mentioned that?
Fable,
dude, I just realized, dude, the bad guys are Cobra Kai in this fucking movie, man.
That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, they're Cobra Kai, dude. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy.
Or the Russian
right?
dude. Fucking the Punisher movie.
The Russian.
Ivan
Drago, yeah.
Yes.
He dies. Yeah.
Whereas this one's
you
like you know,
dogs.
if the entire audience dies, they die, and then I get to fight again because what the fuck even?
You make my drink taste like blood. Whatever that fucking means. All right, the music in the film is done by Friedrich Thalgorn, who you will probably most likely know from Robot Jox. Aside from that, he was the composer of the film Fortress, right? Also wrote the official music to accompany the Olympic flame for the 1992 Winter Olympics. Wow. Aside from that, he did Edge of Sanity, Delta Force 2, and The Temp. Does not have a lot of film scores. He was a composer, though, of the Young Indiana Jones TV series. So that's interesting. And he was the composer of Heavy Metal 2000. The music is the music's aight. It's not my favorite. I think the music in the Limey is way better. I think it's got this like epic fanfare kind of thing to it, right? It's a little bit Western too, with a dump, ba-da-lump. It's got this like galloping Western thing, and I do believe there is a Western influence in this movie as well. You get that in a lot of sci-fi. Exactly. God damn it, wake up because he's coming for you, boy.
He's coming for you, boy. Wake up.
But the music is all right. It's not something I like to listen to on its own. I guess it gets the job done, but it's a little overboard. It's a little not so subtle, in my opinion. Though, is anything in this movie really subtle? What about you, Jelani? What do you think about the music?
I'm sorry, what music? Excuse me?
You didn't hear it?
What music? Like if they
It sounded like the score to like Once Upon a Time in the West, but not really. Just like one bit of it repeated. I mean, it was epic. It was fanfare. It was galloping. It was Western. It's all right. If they would have put the harmonica song in here. I didn't mean Once Upon a Time in the West. I'm sorry. I meant like how the West was won. That's what I meant. Like, obviously, that's way different.
I've never seen that. I need to watch that. But what the crap, man?
Fuck you, Eric. The waves really make the Limey
No, they don't. No.
way better. I'm just saying, I don't give a shit, man.
That's sound design.
Sound design's part of the fucking part of it.
That's not music. That's
sound design's part of it.
No, I beg to differ.
Joe, Joe and Link, if you guys didn't watch last week's show, I had a very vast disagreement with everybody about the music and sound design in the Limey.
Sound design. You said
I'm not letting go of it, man. I'm holding on to that shit.
Whip. So, like this, I don't remember anything from this. Like he needed to spend another like $3 million and get some like music, like a soundtrack. This movie needed a toy line, a soundtrack, and a marketing department,
and a time machine.
Yeah, and a time machine.
Too bad the production company went out of business halfway through production. Right.
Like it totally sucks on its own, and it's like a shame that you have to deal with this because it's a movie that could have been a movie if it had like proper something, like everything. I don't know. You spent too much movie. They spent too little on this movie, and at the same time, they spent too much on this movie. At the same time, and it hurts. Like, spend some money and get, like, I don't know, Guns N' Roses. Who's popular in 89, 90? Prince. Do a Prince song. I don't know. Shit. Get anyone. Get any fucking one. That's worth the damn.
Biggest budget of Empire Pictures' career. And let's go ahead and fucking spend all of it on a Prince song. Don't forget, this is the year that he was doing the Batman soundtrack.
Yes,
God damn it. Like, yeah. How much do you think Prince cost? Jesus.
Robots and Jox.
You got to get somebody past
half that budget would have went to Prince.
You got to get somebody past their prime, right? Like Raquel. That's what you needed for this one, right? That's what you needed.
Any damn thing. It would have helped. Anything. It is so random that it doesn't work for this movie.
It needs that blood sport moment, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It needs that like that Bush shit, you know.
They should have got Vince DiCola, yeah.
If you had a memorable song, you need one memorable song.
Somebody recut this movie with the soundtrack and the score to Bloodsport. I bet it works even fucking
it would be better.
And shave like 5 to 10 minutes off of it, man. Yep. And that would be the fucking all right. Who's got extra time? Somebody needs to really fucking do that. I want to watch that movie. That'd be great. Brooks, did you notice the music in the film or the sound design?
Yeah, I did it first, but when I in the beginning, I heard the sound. I'm like, oh, this is how the sound in the movie is, and it was. It's fine. It's serviceable. It's nothing special. It is very much that kind of late '80s style action movie music.
It made me feel like when I was listening to it earlier, I was like, because I honestly the same thing. Like I remember the music being like very like fanfare when I was watching it, right? But I wanted to listen to it on its own, isolated, and all I kept going was, "This sounds like the Police Academy score. This sounds like the Police Academy music."
Wow.
The Police Academy music is better.
Police Academy had a good score though.
I should remember it. Jesus, there's nothing here.
All right, Fable, what about you? What do you think about the music?
I mean, yeah, this shit sounds like Stuart Gordon was like, I need music like the guy who does fucking Star Wars, the guy who does Indiana Jones. I need that fucking kind of music. You're talking about John Williams? Yeah, but not that fucking guy. I don't got enough money for him.
Yeah, so they cast William Jones. They hired William Johns.
William Johns.
Who?
Nothing memorable, serviceable. You know, has the right trumpets and the right violins when they need it to, get across what they're trying to get across. Yeah.
Yeah.
Forgettable, but sometimes when they're forgettable, that means they're doing their job.
It also a little bit sounds like the music in Monty Python and the Holy Grail. da-da-dun, da-da-da-dun, dun, dun, da-dun, da-da-da-dun, like something like that.
It
I like that
definitely
too.
yeah.
needs a
Anything.
main theme, like a RoboCop. Dun, 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 dun. It needs
You're
something
right.
like that. But it
Yeah.
doesn't have it.
It
doesn't
doesn't
have
have
it.
that. No, it doesn't. Steph, what about you? What do you think about the music?
I'll be honest. I'm glad Jelani said it first because when you said music, I was like, oh shit, yeah. I didn't
Ain't
pay
shit.
attention. Yeah, I'll be honest. I didn't notice anything. Gee, maybe this sound design was, it was serviceable. I didn't notice the music though. I'll be completely honest. It was cool. I guess I
Did you
didn't. I
notice
didn't
the
think of it
sound
like,
of the
man, this
waves
is
though?
shit.
Did you notice the waves?
I did.
The
I
waves
noticed the
represent
waves.
memory.
Don't answer that. Don't answer
The
Jesus,
waves
man.
represent
Somebody
memory.
help me, man. Sound design. That's sound design. That's not music.
All right, the rundown has changed. It now means music and sound design, asshole. Because you've talked about sound design when I've asked about the fucking music before. That's
What?
fine.
What? Mitchell,
By the
what?
way, Steph, the waves thing, that was a callback to last week. But anyway, the Limey is fucking
Limey.
awesome. And my panel did not appreciate it as much as they should have. I'm just
We
gonna say
liked
that.
it. We liked the Limey.
It wasn't quite Funhouse, but like y'all really, I'm still
Funhouse,
kind of pissed off
which
about
is
last week's
trash.
fucking conversation about the music and the sound design. Everybody's like, oh, it's just the who's. Wait, God damn it. Listen to the goddamn. I'm going to start sending everybody who's on the panel for next week. I'm going to send you the isolated
The
score
sound.
on YouTube.
No
So
one
that
gives a
y'all can be
shit.
like, oh shit.
That's fair.
That's right. Every week I'm on this show. Robbie asked me what I think about the music. So
I know. Ever since
This
the
one though,
Limey-
I think we're all like on a universal consensus here. Is like, what music? This is Robot Jox.
I agree,
it
man.
was there, but it was.
I agree. I had to listen to it on its own to be like, what the fuck was the music in this movie?
Yeah,
It needs like an I will survive.
need
I fight to
waves.
survive. It needs one of those things, man.
Yes.
It needs
It
Stan
needs a
Bush.
song.
It
Yeah.
needs Stan Bush like a motherfucker. You got the touch. I mean, that would be fucking badass. Joe, any thoughts on the music
It would.
and or sound design and the waves and the Limey?
I mean, for the first two that are related to this movie, I have to say, it kind of sucks. Whatever, who cares? It's some of the worst parts of the movie because it's either nothing, like there's a lot of just nothing, and then when there is music, it's just like it pulls me out every time like the score starts because it's not very good. So that's not great. The best part about the enduring legacy in terms of music from this movie is that Trent Reznor sampled the crowd screaming when the robot was falling onto it to use for the song The Becoming on the Downward Spiral.
I didn't know that. The more you
so
know.
So that is without a doubt the single greatest legacy in music that Robot Jox has.
Yeah, so Trent Reznor appreciates elements
I was
of the
about to
sound
say
design.
that. Yeah. I like Trent Reznor a little more now. He likes Robot Jox.
I wonder if anybody's ever I
musician.
wonder if anybody's ever sampled the waves from the Limey. If not, they definitely
Oh
should.
my God.
All right. It's time to
Surely Moby has at some point.
I'm sure he has, right? You're right, dude. How many Moby songs have fucking waves in them?
Yes.
Right?
And then Michael Mann's like, oh
canceled?
my
I
God, he's like
forget.
jizzing himself listening to a Moby song. So he's like, bring him in. All
I
right.
feel like Moby was canceled or should have been, right? Because like he's weird.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. I like Moby music though. I'll tell you that. He had that weird thing where he talked about how he dated Natalie Portman, and then she like had to make a tweet being like, "We went out one time." So he's like a weird dude. Moby's a weird dude. All right. So
Right? See, probably canceled.
it's time to talk about the theme of the movie. It's got a lot of themes. Does it hit them all? Well, no, I don't know. But what's this movie speaking to you, Jelani?
to end a second nuclear war, we need robots to fight in gladiator style. I guess we've decided like war is not cool, and we better use Gundams this time to settle our disputes. It's easier this way. It seems like people are more they're more docile because they've seen what war does. They've seen the ravages of the world. And the worst that we could do is bomb each other with nuclear weapons. And, you know, where do you go from there? Giant mechs. Let's do giant mechs. So I believe that, like, I don't know, society through savagery has become more civilized.
Ooh,
that's what I think it is.
I like that. That's actually really good. Society through savagery has become more civilized.
Mm-hmm.
That's like literally the most fucking profound thing you've ever said here, man. I
You're
love that.
welcome.
That's great. That's really good.
And you wasted it on robots.
It's like a Star Trek episode where with the planet that has the computers that do war for them, instead of like actually doing war, they just send people to disintegrators.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess they haven't figured out drone warfare yet at this point. Yeah. Otherwise, they didn't even need fucking people, right? They could have just fucking somebody with a goddamn Nintendo controller could have been fucking controlling this shit, right? Like what is it? Sock'em Jock'em robots? What the fuck are they called?
Rock'em Sock'em robots.
Okay, those motherfuckers. Those are good. I had a Optimus Prime Megatron one when I was a kid. It's pretty dope. I want to get that again. Brooks, what do you think of this movie saying to you?
I think one thing this movie kind of hints at is this idea of what makes a hero, like what makes a person exceptional. Because, like, you know, we mentioned that the scene where, like, you know, Athena is talking to him after he's drunk, and she's talking about how she's everybody's like, and she comes to the conclusion that, like, you know, there's nothing really special about him. Like, he's just a dude. But he is, like, you know, he's the hero, and he's able to, like, shrug off a sedative like a fucking Chad and just, like, you know, not even pass out, but just, like, power through it. But, like, you know, it's like, I think it's the idea is, like, you know, a hero is just somebody who's in the right circumstances, has the right skill, and has the luck, you know, and just has the drive, you know, to do what needs to be done. And, you know, for all of, like, you know, I think that I don't really like Achilles much as a character. I think he's kind of dumb and bland in a lot of ways. But, you know, he does have the hero in him in the end. And, you know, even up to the point where, like, you know, he gives that last final show of mercy. We're like, we don't need to fight anymore, bro. Like, this whole thing is just pointless, you know? So, like, he ends up being kind of the prototypical hero, even though despite the fact that, you know, we have all of these, like, you know, genetically engineered people who are supposed to be, like, superior, but are apparently, like, you know, not actually any better than most human beings when it comes to giant robot fighting. But this one guy he just has what it takes, I guess, to be a hero.
What is it that sets Achilles apart from everybody else? Well, of the time, I guess what makes a hero is benevolent sexism, because that's kind of a part of it. What about you, Fable? What do you think this movie? What do you think this movie's speaking to you?
God damn, I gotta pull this one out the ass, man. Even though you may think of yourself as lesser than, you have to put on a good face because you may be inspiring a bunch of other people, I guess. I don't know. Like, he's just, you know, I got 10 fights, a contract's done. You know, I don't really care. I want to go back to being Uncle Jim. But his nephews look up to him. His boss looks up to him, you know, because he dumped the girl right away. As soon as he came back for the contract, he's like, "Oh, you're back! Oh my god!" The villain is happy to see him. He's like, "Yes, I wanted to fight your ass. Oh yeah, come back!" Everybody just, you know, and he doesn't think of himself that way. So I guess, you know, sometimes you never know who you're inspiring, even when you don't feel like you're inspirational.
That's really good, Fable. That might be one of the most profound things you've ever said here on PCP.
No, I've
Movie
said
Night.
more profound things, Robbie. Don't do that to me.
Asshole.
What about you, Steph? What's this movie speaking to you?
Fucking robot fights. Who's got the better robot? I'll be honest. I'm not gonna appease you guys tonight with the deep breaches. This is a movie about robot fights. All right.
You're not going to talk about one of the many nuanced takes on Robot Jox?
It might be different. It might be a different story, but this isn't on the level of Street Fighter. It's not as nuanced as Brooks was saying. So I'm not.
Now, if you would have seen this movie at 10 years old, though, if you would have seen this movie at 10,
that's okay. As a kid, as a 10-year-old, I will say. As a 10-year-old, I will say it's about being a hero. Like I think Brooks was speaking that. The dude. Everyone kept trying to figure out what was his X factor. What was his X factor? It just is what it was. It doesn't matter if they were super soldiers; they still couldn't succeed him. He had that X factor. Sometimes it's, that was his journey. He's just a cool dude. I guess that's what I would take from it as a 10-year-old.
And you said you weren't going to wax
36-year-old man
about this fucking movie, man. Look at you, man. you know who else has that X factor? PCPX, motherfuckers. That's right. That's right. If you ain't down with PCPX, I got 2 words for you. Joe Corallo, tell us what this movie is speaking to you.
So, this is going to be generous, and I am not saying that the movie did a good job conveying this overall, but the ending makes it clear that this is more or less what it's going for, is this idea of, again, Cold War allegory, clearly beats you over the fucking head with it. But it's like the message is these conflicts will never end until, the people on the ground, the foot soldiers, like the front line, has to take a stand on both sides, that they will not die for like someone else's war, that they're not going to just execute what the elites have told them to do for their benefit, in order to, sort of stop all of this violence. So I don't think the movie does a very good job overall with this. There's a handful of moments throughout sprinkled in and the ending, but I think that's kind of what they're going for.
All right, fair enough. I think we've all pulled a lot already from this movie.
Yeah.
So what the hell do I got to say? Number 1, what is this movie about to me? It's about this. War. Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. This is an anti-war film. It's an anti-war film made during the Cold War era. That's very simply what it is. That's what it is. Heroism is a big part of it. How you inspire people is a big part of it. Robot fighting is a big fucking part of it. Everybody was robot fighting. But the other thing, and I don't like you said, Joe, I don't think it really excels at this message, but I think a big part of it is about we're still in war in this movie. It's still war. It's still combat over territory, right? And yeah, the whole thing is, soldiers, they could stand up, they could not fight, blah, blah, blah. Forgive the serial killer, right, Joe? But the other thing is, it's about the bread and the circuses, and about how this population is being manipulated into, war's over, y'all. War's cool. We live in a utopia now. By the way, check out this week's robot fucking fight. Check it out on Monday Night Robot Raw. You know what I'm saying? Like that's basically what they're playing with. But it doesn't really excel at that. But yeah, it's about the futility of war, but how also the powers that be can easily manipulate us through entertainment, violent entertainment at that, to believe that conflict is over, but it's not, right? Does that make any fucking sense? Even I'm struggling with this one, y'all. Trust me. And I pulled some really profound shit out of Surf Ninjas and Cyborg and Stopper My Mom Will Shoot. So Robot Jox hopefully will be the next one.
That's not the most profound thing you've ever said on this thing.
No.
No, it is not. No, it is not. But that is what we are thinking about the movie. All right, time to rate this movie out of 5 possible you digs. You out there in the chat, what do you rate Robot Jox? And you, Jelani, kick us off.
I'm giving it something it probably doesn't deserve.
I think we all will be tonight.
I know,
except for maybe Joe.
Except Joe, yeah. Joe's not gonna do that.
Yeah,
I at the same time, I don't think I want to like be that nice. I'm gonna give it a 3.69. It's average, but it's average in a weird way. Like it doesn't suck. Like I'd watch it again to laugh at it and to see what else I could get from it, because I want to get something from it. It's Stuart Gordon. The man did Reanimator, and oh god.
But then watch Reanimator next instead of watching Robot Jox again.
I'm gonna watch
which
Reanimator.
Verno will be covering on Blood Splatter Chatter for March Madness. So
I will watch it. I will watch it. It's just I still think I want to see it again just to be sure that I don't hate it, because I don't.
It's worth the Verno. It's worth the Verno.
Yeah, I don't really like.
It's worth all 6 of us getting together and getting super fucked up and watching again, right?
Yeah. Yes, it deserves that, and I believe a 3.69 is fair, because I would just give it a 3. It's not a 2. It's not I won't watch it again. So, yeah, 3.69.
Oh yeah, 3.69 from Jelani. What about you, Brooks?
Well, like I mentioned, like this movie plays tug of war with me, and it ends up basically in the center. So I'd give this one a 3. Like it's a movie that it didn't win me over, but it didn't repel me either. Like I kind of feel like, you know, I could enjoy watching this movie more given the right circumstances. But like overall, it's not a good movie. It does suck in a way, but you know, it doesn't suck in a way that's like makes it so you don't want to ever watch it again. It sucks in a way that makes you like think like, you know, I could still enjoy this movie even though with the foreknowledge that this movie does suck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fair enough. Fable, what do you think?
I don't know. I think I'm more fascinated by this movie than I like it. Right? Like I think it's charming. I think it's cute, and I think it's okay. The story's whatever. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but it just fascinates me. Like Stuart Gordon films in general do this to me because I feel like he's like the right studio needed to discover him, and he's never been discovered. Right? Like if some studio would have came in, gave him the right budget, the right script, he would have knocked out like so many classics. But
like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, you know,
which he didn't direct, but he wrote.
Yeah, you know, I think he gets the most out of his budgets. His movies are more competent than they have any right being. I mean, From Beyond to me is one of the best. What do you call that style of movie? That horror
Lovecraft movie?
Lovecraftian thing that I've ever seen. Really, to be honest with you, and there's a lot of people have taken a crack at Lovecraft and sucked at it. And he's one of the few success stories. And here too, right? Because nobody's ever done fighting robots, and he pulled that shit off. It's fun to watch, but you know, got to be realistic here. So I'm gonna say 3. I'm gonna give it a 3. I think that's maybe even more than what it deserves, but it's charming to me, and it's very fascinating and interesting. So yeah, 3.
All right, Steph, what you sitting on?
Man, hey, you guys have previously said it better. Like, there's clearly flaws with this movie, but there is a charm and an ambition to this movie that you gotta admire to some degree. I don't, yeah, it is shit as it is. You gotta admire the ambition of what they're trying to do for its time. So with that being said, and in spite of Robbie, I'm gonna give it 3.25. Because I know how he is about the 0.25s. So, but it's a generous 3.25. I think as a
you could have
child,
said
and I don't know because
3.269. I'm just saying, but what?
no, I got to keep it spiteful. But no, depending on who this was made for, if this was made for kids, I think they kind of excelled at their audience. Like as a kid, I think I would have been like, I still to this day love the first Power Rangers movie. And I can say that the CGI is terrible. Some of the lines, dialogue, it's a little shitty, but there's a charm to it. And I think this movie would have been in the same vein as that had I seen it a little bit earlier. And I do admire that about it. It's for $6 to $10 million, man. Come on now, what are we asking for? In the '90s, like, and Stuart Gordon, like, I don't know. I didn't let who I forget. It was Fable Robbie. I think you guys pointed out, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Like, had he had a studio to really back him, we know what he was capable of. Had a bigger studio back this project, would have been way better than this, and I respect that. So I'm going to give it 3.25.
You know what? I respect that, man. Regardless of how I feel about 0.25s and 0.75s, because I think they're bitchy ass, but it is what it is. And I appreciate you, Steph, for being here. Joe, what about you? What do you rate Robot Jox?
Well, here's the thing. So my preamble before I give my score is going to be, it does suck. And when people are talking about, like, watching it again, it's like, how much more life do you all think you have to live? Like, how much longer are you going to be around? And again, it's not even
at least 84 more minutes, Joe.
but like,
let's be honest. Go on. Sorry, go on.
But no, no, you're fine. If I was going to watch another, like, a Stuart Gordon movie again, there are so many other Stuart Gordon movies I would watch before watching this again. If I was going to watch a giant mech movie at this point, I think I would probably rewatch the first Pacific Rim before I watch this again.
I mean, factual.
So, like, and I'm a big Gundam fan. Like, I love the manga. I used to collect the model kits. I could easily watch so much of Gundam over again, and that is like hundreds of fucking hours of entertainment with Gundam. That's all better than that. Like, I can appreciate what it was trying to do. I can appreciate that it was ahead of its time in some ways, for trying to go for this giant mech thing in live action. But ultimately, there are so many other things I'd rather do. Even like 80s. If I'm nostalgic for the 80s, I'll watch Bloodsport for the 27th time. If I'm nostalgic for the 80s, I'll watch Terminator again. I'll watch Aliens. I'll watch Empire
because
Strikes
of the music,
Back.
man. If they had Stan Bush,
yeah.
I'll watch the Transformers animated movie again. Like, that's incredible. But yeah, the if this had a killer score, I'd probably like it a good amount more. Like,
some hair metal.
If they trimmed it down, if they cut this by 10-15 minutes, cut out some of, like, the subplotty stuff that ended up going nowhere, and had a significantly better score, this may elevate. So, like, at the end of the day, I'm just like, a 2 out of 5. Like, it's I I don't hate this movie. I don't like if I was like with a bunch of people and they wanted to watch Robot Jox, I would be like, I'm not watching Robot Jox. You know, it's like, like, oh no, that's cool.
You wouldn't be
whatever.
like, how much more time do you think we have in our lives?
I stopped
Look,
lying.
yeah.
Don't watch that shit.
You're wasting your
I
life.
got blood
away.
sport right here, buddy. Like,
Joe's
let's
lying
fucking
right
go. Like Joe carries blood sport in his backpack in case of these situations.
For just occasions, but yeah, these
You
situations
can
I've
watch
been waiting on.
Transformers the
And
animated.
just
movie
summon
right now.
blood sport from the ether.
God.
All right. I respect everybody's opinions here tonight. I really respect everybody's scores. Me personally, I'm going to give it a 3.5. It's Stuart Gordon. He gets an automatic 3 for me to begin with, right? So all Stuart Gordon films start at 3. Robot Jox, because of its ambition, raises it a 0.5. So it's a 3.5. Is it my favorite Stuart Gordon film? No. But is it like number 9 or 10 on my top 10? Absolutely. But yeah, dude, I would rather watch Reanimator, From Beyond, Dolls, Fortress even. And I'm not the
Fortress,
hugest fan of Fortress, right?
Which is pretty good.
Yeah.
But do not
got
forget how
rating in it.
awesome Space Truckers and Stuck are. Those 2 movies fucking rock. And maybe next time we do a fucking off the cuff, random ass Stuart Gordon film, we do the fucking Space Truckers. Also, Dagon is really
Ooh.
fucking good. And Castle Freak. So there's a lot of great Stuart Gordon films. Robot Jox, though, is just a very different Stuart Gordon film that I really appreciate. So a 3.5.
Let's not forget. I
go
was
ahead.
going to say, let's not forget that this review went on longer than the actual movie.
Way
Usually-
longer.
Usually,
Shit.
when that happens,
Yeah.
that's a pretty
Well,
good
that's
indicator
because
that,
we
you
know
it deserves a
we
little
understand
more.
how to pace something, and we got good music because I sang a couple times, right? And then Sound of Waves, though, we can just hear them. So a 3.5 from me, a 3.69 from
Wait.
Jelani for the highest score of the night, a 3 from Brooks, a 3 from Fable, a 3.25 from Steph, and a 2 from Joe Corallo. That makes a PCP average of, let's get as close to accurate as we can. That's a 3.69, y'all. Wait, my bad. A 3.069. 3.069. I
Still
think that
station.
is pretty fair for this movie from this panel. All right. Thus concludes
Is this the
our
first time
movie.
Jelani's ever had the highest?
Right?
Sorry.
It
Is this the
might
first time
be,
thinking that too.
especially on a movie like
Shit.
this, man.
Probably.
Oh,
Yo.
I was being nice. I'm being nice.
Imagine if
most of us
this
are.
movie's if this movie had titties in it, Jelani would be like
Oh.
4.69.
It's a 4.69.
If it
All
had
it needs
titties
is
in
Barbara
it-
Crampton tits.
Yeah, if it had titties in it, I would have did
That's it.
3.25 as well.
Like Athena's tits, she didn't have any. So
All right.
like, man.
Thus
Nice
concludes our movie review for Robot Jox. And next week, we're kicking off March Madness here on PCP Movie Night with Lizard in a Woman's Skin. That's right. I always love my Italian giallo films. This is Lucio Fulci. March Madness is on the way. 17 movies across 4 channels in the entire month of March. It all kicks off Sunday night over at Dylan's Horror Show at Jacob's Ladder. Then Monday night, Lizard in a Woman's Skin here on PCP Movie Night. The following night on Tuesday over at One Collection Down, Flatliners. And then Thursday over at Blood Splatter Chatter. He's continuing the Italian Fulci love with House by the Cemetery. So there's your first week of March Madness. Jacob's Ladder, Lizard in a Woman's Skin next week. Where is it available to watch and stream? Nowhere. Good luck. Pirate the shit out of it.
Thanks.
Find it, watch it, be here next week.
Every time.
Flatliners on One Collection Down. House by the Cemetery on Blood Splatter Chatter. Also, check me and the panel out on Thursday night, 6 p.m. Central Time for the best comics of the month. We're going to be talking about our favorite comic books of February. We are all very erudite, as you can tell by this thumbnail. So I'm very excited to talk about our favorite books of February. And then 5 p.m. Central Time on Friday, I'll be having a conversation with my friend David Papose about Captain Planet, Space Ghost, and much, much more.
Yo, I love
Cable. Yeah.
Captain Planet
I
has a
love
beard.
love the new the image of the best comic books of the month.
You like that?
It's
Yeah.
You
just
like that?
pretentious enough, you know? Yeah.
I told everybody to be very studious. If you notice, Stu is reading Romeo and Juliet upside down. And this is what I love. I love that two of us chose the idea that we had books in front of us, right?
Nice.
Two people chose a
Yeah.
Shakespeare reference, and two people chose
And then the
fingers
hands on the
on the
chin.
chin. Fingers on the chin. You know?
Yeah.
And you're really reading a
That's
penthouse,
brilliant.
not even reading a book. You're looking
Yeah, isn't that
at
great?
it.
And it's the Philosopher's Handbook.
I didn't repeat that. Yo.
All right, Jelani, thank you so much for being here. Final thoughts. What you got coming up?
Man, so happy to do this lovely panel and talk about Robot Jox, which I had no clue that we were gonna, expound on this lovely robot fighting movie. Rest in peace, Stuart Gordon. You sir were an auteur and way ahead of your time with this film. Like if you'd done it like 10 years later or something, I don't know. And then 10 years at the same time, 10 years later,
It would have been worse in the late 90s because then it would have been CG, man.
well, 10 years before or 10 years back, before and after. You need. It's in a weird time loop. This movie. It was way ahead of its time. At the same time, it was regressive. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. So I'm glad to have this chat with you guys, you gentlemen, about it. Brooks and I do Go Figure reviews. It's our thing, man. We do toys. Since Robbie don't do show and tells no more, we have a show and tell channel. How about that? Anyhow, because we do that, and I'm in my heel thing too. We got the Nemesis Build-A-Figure wave that we did the entire wave in one video, except for Cyclops, which that entire section of the review has no audio. So I think that gives our video charm. So check out this video with these X-Men figures. They are awesome. And I did a solo review with Panther. This is the Masterverse Panther that just came out. I literally got this within the week. Like I ordered it in a pre-order and got it in a week. Mattel Creations, you're killing it. I absolutely adore you guys. So check out both of our videos. We do stuff. Check us out. Go Figure Reviews.
Hell yeah. Somebody please throw a link out in the chat. Brooks, thank you so much for being here. Final thoughts, my man.
Well, I just have one thing like that I forgot to mention that I was curious about. I was like, did anybody else find it weird that they're like, I guess the little war cry was crash and burn? It's like throughout this entire movie, I'm like, does that mean something different than what it means here? Because that means like, crash and burn is like a bad thing, but they keep saying it like, yeah, crash and burn, brother.
It's a break the leg thing, man. It's a break a leg thing.
Break a leg in the stage. Same thing.
I mean,
good luck.
I'm kind of like with Brooks though, because when I first
say good luck on opening night, like the producers, Mel Brooks.
I thought it's weird, like
when
somebody's getting into a giant
the...
mech to fight another giant mech, and you say crash and burn.
Yeah, you're killing me, man. I'm not
kind of like saying hope you die.
What are you saying, Steph?
When I first saw the faculty, that's when I first heard the saying of crash and burn when Casey was saying it to Elijah Wood because he had like a bloody nose. He got like elbowed. And I just always took it as like a negative thing, because something bad happened to him. And she was like, crash and burn, So I'm kind of with Brooks there. I feel like crash and burn's always kind of had, maybe break a leg is a little different, but I get the connection. But crash and burn just seems a little bit more negative than break a leg,
Yeah, well, like within the connotation of somebody like going to fight in a giant machine, like telling him to crash and burn seems kind of fucked
right.
up.
Yeah, crash and burn is fucked up. I think they really should have went with hope you get shredded by a fucking cocksaw.
Yeah,
I hope you get
cocksaw to you.
Speaking of cocksaws, Fable, thank you so much for being here. What you got coming up, man? Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Got a second what Jelani says. Thanks for letting me hang out with you guys and talk about these movies. Stuart Gordon, although not my favorite director, and I might not even consider myself a fan of his. I find him to be fascinating and interesting on a filmmaking level. And I'm so glad that because being around you guys, I got to discover him and his filmography. It made me appreciate him a lot more. Coming up, Blame Fable, the all new, all different Blame Fable show, Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. All these fine gentlemen, I get to hang out with them on Friday nights at 9 p.m. So yeah, if you like all these jokes and all this stuff, all this camaraderie and banter that we have here, that kind of continues Friday night. So come check us out.
Do you want to talk
And
about
Flatliners, yes. March 4th, 9 p.m. Eastern. March 4th is a Tuesday. My first ever March Madness participating in this and hosting a movie review. And I decided to start with this nice little ensemble cast. Don't you guys agree? This is a cool little cast here. So let's see if this holds up.
You got Kiefer Sutherland, Kevin Bacon, Julia Roberts, Oliver Platt, and whoever the fuck else that other guy
Whoever
is.
that other guy is.
Baldwin. It's the Baldwin brother.
The Baldwin.
Baldwins, right?
Yeah.
It's one of them. It's Jared
I
McGee
forgot
Baldwin.
Oliver Platt.
Wow.
Well, I've seen Lake Placid.
Yo, shout out to the movie. I forgot Oliver Platt was in it.
And Digstown.
Yo,
Digstown's
speaking of Oliver Platt, wasn't he in Lake Placid too?
That's what was he in part 2? I never saw part 2.
I think he was in the first one.
No, I didn't.
He's
Not
in the
part
first
2.
one, yeah.
The first one, yeah.
He's in the first one. He's in Digstown.
But, yeah.
And he's in Ready to Rumble with David Arquette and James Caan. Not James Caan, Scott Caan. Scott Caan.
Trash.
Classic.
The second time I saw it, I thought I loved
Which one?
it.
Ready to Rumble?
Ready to Rumble. I hate that.
Oh yeah, that movie sucks, bro.
Oh,
It used to be so good. I
Ready to
tried
Rumble?
That led David Arquette to become a world champion, man.
Yep,
Anyway,
WCW, yeah.
It sure did. It killed WCW.
so Link, final thoughts, man.
Final thoughts. I still have a respect for Ready to Rumble. I definitely feel you guys. But there's still some good times there to be had. I'll be around on the interwebs. I always pop up here and there. But I'm glad I saw this movie. I wish I would have seen it sooner, but like I was saying earlier, I look forward to sharing this with my son. So I'm glad you guys introduced me to it.
Hell yeah.
He has enough time to watch it, so I guess that's cool.
He does.
Speaking of time, Joe, final thoughts, man. Thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure. I know you got some stuff
Thanks
coming
for
up,
having
man.
me. I do. You can pre-order Volume 2 of King Arthur and the Knights of Justice, Morgana's Revenge. It'll be out in June. And if you haven't gotten the first volume, what are you waiting for? It's available now. You could also catch me editing Green Hornet and Miss Fury. There are 2 issues now out through Dynamite, one of the best publishers that pays me money to do things for them.
I agree.
So thank you. Yes, absolutely. So, also I'm doing more stuff. I really can't talk about it yet, but look out because it's coming.
Hell yeah. And everybody will be making appearances on March Madness. March Madness is great. This is the biggest March Madness we've ever done. I'm very excited. It's a really cool lineup. I think everybody really, really hit the nail on the head. So don't forget, it kicks off Sunday night over at Dylan's Horror Show with Jacob's Ladder. Continues next week here on PCP Movie Night with Lizard in a Woman's Skin over at One Collection Down with Flatliners. And then, of course, Blood Splatter Chatter with The House by the Cemetery. Check out our erudite observations on comic books on Thursday night. And David Papose with the book I put together, him on Captain Planet at Dynamite. Y'all, I'm telling you, I made that happen. Whatever. They didn't pay me for it, but I just want a little bit of recognition for it. But we love you, PCP Army. Thank you so much. Go check out Lizard in a Woman's Skin. Get ready for some March Madness. We got a great lineup, 5 shows for us on PCP Movie Night. We're dipping out. We love you. Station, pop, pop, boom, crash and burn. And don't forget, if anybody ever gets in your way, squash them like bags.